Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the things that I am doing in order to be more responsible with money and in order to pay down the small debt that I have. This is a little bit more of a serious topic. Let's get into it. So the first thing that I am doing is setting up direct debits for my credit card that go out the day after payday. I get paid on the last day of every month, and so for me that means setting up every direct debit that I have goes out within the first 3 days of the month. So I know that I get paid on the last of the month. Over the next 3 days, all my direct debits go out, all my standing orders go out, everything that has to be paid automatically or should be paid automatically goes out. And whatever I have left after that is the pot that I have to budget from for the month. So for me, that's my rent goes out, my phone bill, my credit card direct debit, any charitable contributions I make, the Wi-Fi, because currently I pay for our Wi-Fi, insurance or anything like that has to come out, comes out. Everything comes out in those first 3 days. And then after that, I know that I don't have any standing orders or automatic payments that are going to come out and surprise me towards the end of the month. The next thing that I do, it's a lot more simple than it sounds, but it is super effective. My credit card is locked in a lockbox. It's in sight. I can literally, I'm sitting here filming, I can see the lockbox. It sits right there on my shelf, but it means that I can't use my card very easily. It sounds really trite to say this, but out of sight, out of mind really does work. So for me, I know it's there. I can use it. If I have to pay for something that cannot wait, is an emergency, is urgent, my card is right there. But because I have to go get the key, open it up, make the decision to pull it out and then use it, it requires a lot more of a thought process for me to be able to pull that out. My credit card is not in my purse. It's not an easy reaching distance, and therefore I don't think to use it. I think, okay, here's my debit card, and I don't really think about my credit card, and that allows me to pay that off. And it also means that there are months where I don't put any new charges on it. I just continue to pay it off, which is great and so good for my credit score. The next thing I did when I realized that my spending was getting a little out of control was I removed my credit card from every site and app I had attached it to. So this meant Uber, this meant eBay, this meant PayPal, this meant Depop, it meant anything. My Amazon account, everything, it just got deleted. I just went through systematically through every single thing it was connected to and I deleted it from everything. And that means that I don't have the option to pick it as the way I want to pay. If I can't pay with my debit card, I'm not paying for it. I'm not buying anything, it's not happening. And that has actually been really, really useful, because if I have to physically add the card back onto my account, it gives me more time to say, hang on a minute, do I really need to make this purchase? And if I do need to make this purchase, do I really need to make it right now? And do I need to make it with my credit card? Or is it something that can wait until I get paid? In which case, like, it can sit in my Amazon cart for 3 weeks. It'll still be there in 3 weeks. The next thing I did, and this is not a plug for the app that I'm using, you can use a multitude of different apps. There are at least 4 or 5 apps that I can think of that you can do this with, is I started saving in an ISA, which is the British equivalent of a 401k. And I started saving using an app on my phone. So I use Moneybox, which I only started using about a month and a half ago, but I've already saved way more money than I would have just through a savings account. With Moneybox, what I really like is you set up how much per week you're willing to put into the account, and it will automatically deduct that. But what you can also do is you attach your bank account or your credit card or your debit card to your account, and then for every purchase you make, lists how much in pennies would round that number up to a full number, to a round number. So if you, I don't know, you went to Dollar Tree, or if you went to Argos and you spent, $34.92, it would say, oh, you went to Argos, you spent $34.92, here's 8 cents to round that up. And what you can do is you can hit a button that says round up, and all of those small amounts all gets rounded up into one pot, and then they take that as an extra weekly sum. And what that means is you think, oh, it's 20p here, it's 30p there, it's 8p, it's 2p, but actually that adds up super quickly. Just in the roundup numbers from my regular purchases on a daily basis, I saved like an extra £70, which is great. And I don't have to think about it. I just hit a button and off it goes. And I found that really super useful, and it's never too soon. I'm almost upset with myself that I waited until 25 to start saving in an ISA. And I have a lifetime ISA, so this is for retirement. It's like a longer term ISA, which I'm going to get my money back later in my life when I might need that bigger investment. And I'm kind of sad with myself that I waited until 25 to start an ISA. I got a retirement account when I got the job that I currently have, which was 4 years ago, 5 years. Wait, how old am I? 25. Which was 4 years ago now. 4.5 years ago, actually. 4.5 years ago. I forget. They do my work birthday like weirdly from when I actually started working for them about 4.5 years ago. And I do save a significant amount in there every month. It comes straight out of my paycheck. I never see it. And it's great. And if you have a job who will contribute to your retirement, do it. But I'm kind of sad with myself that I didn't start saving in an ISA or a 401k until now. And I only thought about it because we've been in lockdown, and I was like, what do I do in lockdown? Well, you look up how to save more money. And that's when I realized that I should be doing this. If I'd done this 5 years ago, I would be in such a better financial position. So yeah, I've started saving in an ISA. There are dozens of apps that you can use for this kind of thing, and they have super low cost rates, like how much you have to pay to have the ISA, but actually their interest rates are usually quite a bit more higher than your average brick and mortar bank. The other thing, and I kind of touched on this just a minute ago, is to put a significant amount into your retirement fund every month. If you are in the UK, for example, and I don't know how this works in the US, but I know in the UK, your employer is required to match a certain percentage of your income into your retirement fund. If you put the same amount in, it's like up to 5% or up to 10%. I don't remember, is it 8%? I don't remember what the percentage is now. They've changed it a couple of times. When I first started saving in my retirement fund, I know it was 5%, but I think it's gone up slightly since then. I honestly don't remember. So putting a significant amount in your retirement fund, and for the love of everything holy, make sure that you are maxing out that amount that your employer is going to contribute to. Between what I put in, my employer puts about half of what I put in every month in order to max out like the amount that they can put in and contribute. So that's a third more money going into my retirement every month than otherwise would be. And it's so important. I think a lot of people, a lot of young people, a lot of people our age, a lot of people who are between the ages 18 to 35, we've grown up in such an environment of living hand to mouth that we don't think about, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. We definitely don't think towards retirement, because that's 50 years from now. No one's thinking that far ahead, but absolutely you should. If you start saving as a 20-year-old or a 22-year-old or a 23-year-old, you can have tens of thousands more in the bank when it comes to your retirement fund when you retire. Assuming any of us can retire and that Boris hasn't upped the retirement age to 105 by then. But it's so important to start saving now, and even if it's tiny amounts. When I first started working where I work, I was a temp. I was making not very much money a month, but I decided every single paycheck I was gonna put £5 away. That was it, £5. And I got paid every 2 weeks. So that was £10 a month I was putting into a retirement fund, which is nothing. But my employer did match that. So I got £20 a month in my retirement. And when I went perm, I immediately upped the difference in what I was making, because I knew I could still live within my means. Immediately, I added that to my retirement fund, and it's done me nothing but good. So I absolutely recommend it. And the more you can put in, the better. And I know that it's like, well, I could put £5 more into my retirement fund, or I could go and have drinks with my friends. You're going to be a lot happier to have that one last drink a week with your friends and put the extra £5 into retirement. You'll be much happier for it, and you'll be much better off for it, I promise you. Whew, okay, now that I've finished my lecture, I need a drink. Sorry, did not mean to get preachy, my bad. Okay, so this is something that I actually have found really helpful, and it's a lot easier to start during lockdown if you haven't already got this into your routine, and that is having no spend days. So no spend days are essentially days where I have said to myself, you are not to spend any money. You will eat what's in the fridge, you will hang out at home, you will do fun things at home. For me, that's often reading a book, watching some YouTube, editing a video, filming a video, it's hanging out with my mum, it's playing board games. There's all these things in our house that we can do that don't cost a penny. And having no spend days are a lot easier to do when you can't leave your house anyway. There's no going to get a coffee down the road because the coffee down the road is not open. You can't go into town and go window shopping because none of the stores are open. It's a lot easier to start these no spend days. And then once you build up, you can do a couple of days in a row or pick a couple of different days in a week that you do no spend. So currently I do Monday through Thursday, no spend. I have one exception to that because our cleaning lady comes on a Monday and I can obviously contribute to that because it's my house too. So on that day, I have a no spend day, but I do obviously pay the cleaning lady because that has to be done. It just happens that she comes on a Monday, but I don't spend any other money on a Monday. So Monday through Thursday, I don't spend any money. And actually what happens is a lot of that brainless boredom spending doesn't happen. It's a no spend day. So I have to find other ways to entertain myself. And I found that really easy, or a lot easier now we're in lockdown. But what I do want to really try is I want to try a no spend week. If you guys would be interested in seeing a vlog where I do a no spend week and I have to eat what's in my fridge, not go out, not that any of us can go out right now anyway, and do a whole week where I try not to spend any money, let me know in the comments because I think that would be kind of interesting. I don't know if I could do it. I mean, obviously there would have to be exceptions, like I have to be able to buy food, I have to be able to buy necessities, toilet paper. You know, if I run out of toothpaste, I'm not going toothpaste free for several days. Like, that's not happening. The next thing is automating your savings. So this kind of falls into those like automatic payments I was talking about at the beginning that go out at the beginning of the month. So I have 2 different savings accounts. I put a set amount into each of them every month, and those go out on the 1st of the month. They go out on the 1st of the month and they're gone. This just means I don't have to think about my savings. I don't have to think about the accounts. I don't have to think about putting money away. I just know that I get paid and the next morning that money is gone, never to be seen again unless I need it. And again, on the out of sight, out of mind, I don't know about other bank accounts, but I know that for Barclays on the banking app, you can actually hide accounts on your banking app. So it'll say like you have 2 hidden accounts, but unless you like go and find them, which requires like going through a whole bunch of different options to find them, you can't see those accounts. So you can't see how much is in them and you can't see any information about them, which makes it a lot harder to, you know, like, oh, I really want to buy this shirt, which is $10, but this $10, I'll just take it from my savings. No. I can't do that because I can't see my savings accounts. And in order to find them, again, I have to go through several steps. It's the same thing with the credit card. If it is an out of sight, out of mind situation. But then if you do have to go searching for them because you decide that you want to spend that extra money, and during those several more steps, you have more points at which you can turn around into yourself and say, it's not worth it. I'd much rather save the money. And I found that super helpful because I was definitely one of those people who would like dip into my savings every month, $10 here, 20 quid there, 5 quid there. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, I've been putting money into my savings, but my savings isn't growing. Why is my savings still where it was 3 months ago? Oh yeah, because I keep taking money back out of it halfway through the month to go shopping. No, don't do it. No way. Out of sight, out of mind. Hide them away. Don't think about it. The less you have access to them, the less money you can take from them. The next thing I do, and I suggest you do this before you do anything else, is to budget. But before you even budget, you track how much you spend on what. So that means how much you spend on subscriptions, charity, savings, bills, all of those things. Mark how much you spend. And then what I usually do is a month or a week. It depends on really what you want, but I think a month is the best way to do it. But do I even still have it? I think I still have it. Hang on 1 minute. I carried one of these little like tiny A6. Is this A6 or A7? I don't know. It's like teeny tiny pocket-sized notebook around with me for a month. And every single time I spent money, I made a note in the book. Every week had a double page and I would make a note of how much I spent on everything, and I would make a note of what it was I had spent it on. And then at the end of every week, I would go through and I would color code. Green for food, pink for travel, yellow for other, which was often shopping. And I would go through and I would make a note and I would see how much I'd spent total, how much I had not spent, and how much I had spent on each individual thing, food, travel, and other. And that helped me have a really good insight into what I was spending my money on and where I could cut costs. I was a snacker. I bought food like it was going out of style. I bought candy bars, I bought on-the-go food, I bought sandwiches, I would buy coffee, always out, always expensive, always single-use plastic. It was horrific. It actually horrifies me at this point. But that really allowed me to be able to be like, okay, how can I save money? Well, if I meal prep and I bring my snacks to work with me and I bring my lunch, easily gonna save $10 a day. Let's allocate that $10 a day into my savings instead. Let's allocate that towards Christmas presents. Let's allocate that towards a night out with my girlfriends. There's so many other places that money could be spent in ways that will be much more fulfilling for me in a multitude of ways. And then once you realize what you're spending your money on, create a budget. This can be very solid and be like very black and white, or if you're like me, it can be a little bit more gray and fuzzy. So I have very set amounts for my savings, for my subscriptions, for my charity payments, for, you know, my bills. Those are all very concrete payments. They go out, they're gone, I can't see them. Then what I have left over, every month I take that amount aside and I decide how it needs to be split. And that breaks down into, are there any presents that I need to buy that month? Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, etc. Are there any, you know, when it's not lockdown, are there any events I'm going to? Do I need to buy new heels for an event? Do I need to travel to a different city and will I need to buy a train ticket? Do I know that I'm going out to dinner with friends or with family or, you know, with people from work, and therefore I need to allocate this amount for that? And I will take that amount of money that I know I have kind of to play with essentially for the month, and I will decide how much goes where, and then any leftover that I feel like I don't need to use will also go into my savings. But having a budget, there needs to be some squish in your budget, there needs to be some ish, just because we can't prepare for everything. And you know what, you might go out with friends after work and say, okay, I'm allocating 10 quid for this, $10 goes towards this night out, and we've all done it. We've gone out meaning to have 1 glass of wine, and 4 glasses of wine later we're in the Uber singing along to karaoke on the way home, and we've spent way more money than we meant to. And yeah, those memories, I'm going to cherish forever, some of them, because they're hysterical and they still make me giggle. But that just means that I have to then go, okay, well, where does that extra money come from? Okay, it means that I'm not going to buy myself that new pair of shoes I really wanted. As long as you can budget and you can really work around what is important to you, then you should be able to live within your means. And the last thing, the last one, and I did this only a couple of weeks ago, I removed all the shopping apps from my phone, all of them. Amazon, Depop, Yes Style I had on my phone, I had Etsy on my phone, my takeaway food options, my Uber Eats, my Just Eat, my Deliveroo, all gone, all gone. We done, goodbye. Because the amount of money I was mindlessly spending on those apps was ridiculous. The amount of mindless purchasing on things like eBay or Depop was kind of appalling. No, appalling's the wrong word. It was horrific. I was doing myself so much more damage with that than almost anything else. Now, removing the apps from my phone, it has a two-sided benefit, I think. One, I have to reach for my laptop if I want to do any kind of shopping, which again is like one extra step I have to go through. But also it means that as I have Honey and a couple of those kind of coupon code apps on my laptop, it means that when I do need to spend money on something, it allows me to actually be more financially savvy just making those purchases. But removing the apps from my phone, first of all, removes that mindless spending of like scrolling and going, ooh, pretty, ping. So those are just kind of a couple of ways that I have found to both pay down the small amount of debts that I have and to be more responsible with money, especially in a time like now where so many people are struggling with money and struggling just to get by. I think planning for the future is going to fall to the wayside, but planning for the future, even if it's in a very small way, is so important. Better to start planning now. You'll be much better off and you'll be way less stressed. I'm so much less stressed now that I actually am like doing all these things, because like baby steps early on, but once they're done, that stress is just like, I feel 5 pounds lighter. It's great. But anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you want some more like tips and tricks and things that I'm by no means a financial expert. I'm not trying to be a financial expert. I am not in any way qualified. These are just some things that I have found to be super useful for me. And I hope you really enjoyed this video. And if you did, give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more of me. in all my shiny glory, and I will see you guys in my next video.